Cheap Budget Travel Mexico. Hi, broadcasting not live from Morelia, Mexico. I'm Bill the Geek. This is the Bill Dallas Lewis channel, and we make videos about the joys of living in Mexico. I've taken at least 100 bus rides as I go from city to city, town to town, making my videos about Mexico. Most of these trips were 3.5 hours or more. I took my first bus trip about 13 years ago. I went from Puerto Vallarta to Mazatlan. I don't remember why I went to Mazatlan. I just wanted to get out of Puerto Vallarta for a while, so I decided to take the bus. I was amazed at the price. It was a 4.5-hour bus ride for about 400 pesos. That was $20 back then. It's about the same now. And if I would have had my senior citizen discount card, it would have been $20, half of that, $10 for a 4.5-hour trip. What was even more amazing was the interior of the bus. It was fabulous. It was like a luxury bus. The seats were like lounge chairs, very wide, way more comfortable than airplane seats. Wi-Fi, 75 movies that you can watch. The bathrooms were extremely clean, and the buses were always right on time. I've taken bus rides on scores of different Mexican bus lines, and they were very good, always right on time and dependable. The last bus trip I took was terrible. It was a 16-hour trip that turned into 20 hours, and at the very end of the video, I'm going to tell you what was the worst part about it. Now, this trip was so bad, I'm going to say some things that might get some people in this bus line in trouble. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the bus line until the end of the video, and I'm not going to mention the date of the trip, or I'm not going to mention where we left from or the destination. Now, let me give you a couple of tips right up front why I took the bus. This was a different kind of trip. I was moving. I had everything that I owned with me. I had 3 giant suitcases. Each one weighed about 300 pounds each. I had a desktop computer and my backpack. To fly, the trip would have been a lot shorter, but with all the luggage that I had and the desktop, it would cost me about $1,000. But with my senior citizen discount card, this 14 to 16-hour trip supposedly only was going to cost me $30. I was going to save $970. So I had all my stuff all made it, but it ended up being the 20-hour bus ride from hell. Please leave a comment, tell us what you think. And if you liked the video, click the like button. If you know that somebody that's going to take a bus in Mexico, click the share button. To start the trip, got all my suitcases together, my desktop, got a taxi and made it to my bus station. I got to the bus station about an hour and a half early, and at the time I got there, I was supposed to make my destination by 12 noon the next day in an overnight trip. The bus came to get me. I got on and it was 3 hours late. That changed my arrival time from 12 noon to 5 p.m., which screwed up all my Airbnb reservation plans. In all of my more than 100 bus trips, there's always been a solid divider between the drivers and the passengers. It's almost like they're in a separate sound booth room. This bus didn't have that divider. I purchased my tickets so that I could sit in the front row, so I was watching the driver. He was like 3 feet in front of me for 20 hours. He had his girlfriend sitting at him, right next to him, almost the entire trip. Sometimes he would open his window and smoke cigarettes. Sometimes we'd be out in the middle of nowhere. The driver would stop the bus, get off the bus, go into luggage, grab a package and give it to somebody standing next to their car out in the middle of nowhere. He'd give them the package, and then the stranger would give the bus driver money. Now I'm going to tell you the very worst part of the trip. We have a new Facebook group. It's called Mexico Expats Build Dallas Lewis. Come post your photos, share your ideas, ask your questions, and let's have fun talking about the joys of living in Mexico. Now again, of the more than 100 bus trips that I've taken, the bathrooms were always fabulous. They were always super clean. And when you flushed the toilets, they were like super suckers. If you didn't hang on, they would suck you right down with all the stuff that you went in there to get rid of. This was the dirtiest bathroom I'd been in my life. Imagine that bad park bathroom that you went into is like the latrine system, and you looked down into the toilet and you see the history of man. I went to the bathroom. I didn't want to do it, but the first time I went, I saw the history of man in there, so I left and went to the ladies' bathroom. It was the same way. I went 2 more times on this trip, and the history of man got worse and worse and worse. It was almost full, and I never found the flush button. We go live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Click that subscribe button and you'll get a notification, and you can join us as we share the joys of living in Mexico every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Apparently, nobody else on the bus found the flush button either, and I wonder if they even had one. So the final word of warning is the bus system was called the Elite Bus System. And they have white buses and green buses. This one said Elite Special or something like that. What are my final thoughts? From now on, if the bus trip is going to be more than 5 hours, I'm going to fly. And I will never use the Elite Bus System ever again. Thank you so much for joining us today. One thing I didn't say was I always carry a roll of toilet paper with me in my backpack everywhere I go, especially if I'm getting on an airplane or a bus. Just letting you know. Anyway, thanks again for joining us. We have many more videos to come. Click the subscribe button and we'll see you in the next video.